art. It's a pretty general term with some very specific connotations. Hearing this word conjures up images. Images of famous paintings by people like Picasso and Monet. Or maybe it even makes you think of sculptures or metalwork. But this term covers so much more than just things that are placed in a gallery. Of Robin Schwartzman, a recent University of Minnesota graduate with a master in fine arts, sees art as a living thing.
As a kid going to museums, I would always be so bored just looking at the art on the walls. Of course, now I have a better appreciation for that, but I've just always been really interested in artwork that involves the viewer and the audience.
And Schwartzman's pieces are meant to do just that. They're meant to get the audience involved. Her installation, titled Jump On In, featured a bridge, rainbow slide, and several ball pits. But, despite its namesake, not everyone feels comfortable jumping on in.
It's funny because some adults will just stand back and watch and think that they're not allowed to participate, but other adults will get really excited and go right in and fully participate. It's tough when you're dealing with such a kid-centric aesthetic, so I think that there's this kind of preconceived barrier that we have as adults to kind of restrain ourselves, but I want to try to break that down.
But of course, these preconceived notions come from somewhere.
We're so used to McDonald's playlands and IKEA kids areas where there's this height and age limit, and within the gallery what I'm interested in is that I can remove all that. There doesn't have to be a height limit, and so now adults can jump in the ball pit, where if I tried to do that at a McDonald's, I would certainly get kicked out.
We don't typically think of McDonald's as strict, but there are these restrictions in almost every place you go. I mean, almost every one of us has seen or heard something along the lines of, "Don't touch." But Becca Ron, who is the education manager at the Textile Center, looks at things in a different way.
You want to touch everything.
Of course, Ron isn't referring to literally everything, but there are definitely some benefits that come with art you can actually put your hands on, especially when it comes to children.
Kids don't know how to do anything with their hands anymore. And they can create you a virtual world, whatever, on their iPhone, and they know all about how to do that. But a pair of scissors has become something I have to teach more about how to use a pair of scissors, because they don't do anything with their hands and they don't make anything physical anymore. Textile and fiber arts is like completely blows them away. It's so different for them.
I know that might sound like a jab at technology or a complaint about this generation, but I don't think it was intended to be one. Ron explains her idea further.
It's a lot about patience. Their kids are very much about they want it to be perfect the first time instantly. Mm-hmm. And so you learn a lot about how you have to work for something, and you have to teach your hands how to do it. It's like riding a bike. You fall off your bike 12 times before you figure out how to make that first little wobbly run. Knitting's the same way.
But, of course, patience isn't something just for kids either. It's also helpful for adults and those in-betweeners, too.
And adults are very unforgiving. If they don't get it right away, they're like, "Oh, I'm just dumb. I don't understand that. I don't get it." And will give up. How that you don't want to embarrass yourself as a grown-up by not doing it right.
Of course, those silly little preconceived notions have reared their heads once again. But hopefully, by now, Schwartzman and Ron have helped shift those ideas around. It may be hard to erase the height limit, age limit, and the do not touch parameters that have been so well ingrained in our heads. But I encourage you to leave behind the adult mindset and give it a try. because there are two very cool art forms where audience participation is what matters most. For Culture Q, I'm Marquita Fornoff.